I'm sorry, everyone. Allow me to apologize because I believe that you all were right. You were all right about a lot of the things that you've been saying, and it is me being man enough to sit here and admit to you that that was just 100% accurate. You were right, and I'm apologizing. I'm sorry that we are in this situation that we are in now, and unfortunately, we may be running out of time. Now, I received an interesting message, an email from my last YouTube video, and it really opened my eyes to the current situation that apparently I have completely overlooked. And I feel as though I need to really take a step back and reanalyze everything that I have planned and everything that I have done and everything that I need to do moving forward and as quickly as possible before it's too late. Now, I feel as though that we are in a really, really strange situation right now where there's a huge concern about money, the economy, inflation on the rise. The Fed just announced they're going to continuously raise interest rates, further putting further stress on those who are already extremely stressed. But more so than that is building wealth, building savings, building a retirement plan, building a safety net, a nest egg, building something substantial, building a way to sleep easier at night and not live in fear and worry about where your next paycheck is coming from, how you're going to make rent, will you be evicted, will your vehicle be repossessed, will you lose your job and not be able to buy food, will your home be foreclosed on, will you live out on the street, will you be homeless, will you be forced to live in a car or a van. And the term living wage is often tossed around, and I feel as though that when we think about wealth, we should think about living wage at the same time. Because, in my opinion, and this is not fact, I'm not an economist, I'm not a financial analyst, I'm not, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. But I feel as though a living wage is going to vary depending upon who you are, your living circumstances and situation, and where you choose to live. Similarly, wealth is going to have the same weight. For instance, some would describe wealth, and actually, I'll tell you what, do me a favor, comment down below and let me know what wealth means to you. Because I feel as though years ago, a friend of mine was studying to become a doctor. And within the studies, they were posed a question that they had to then write a thesis on, which was, where is your brain? Which I think everybody knows where their brain is. It's inside of your skull. But where is your mind? Because your mind isn't actually a physical thing. It's really just more so a theory or philosophy, really, when you think about it. And I think that is similar to wealth, because wealth isn't a set, tangible, hold it in your hands, this is it, I've got it. It's a theory, it's a philosophy. I know some people who would consider themselves to be wealthy if they had $100,000 in savings. I know some people who may consider themselves wealthy if they earned $250,000 a year. I know some people who may consider themselves wealthy knowing that they have very little monthly expenses and live in good health and have the ability to travel the world, come and go as they please, but do it in a frugal manner. I know some people who have actually specifically and actively told me that I am definitely not wealthy based on the appearance that I provide to you on these videos that I upload on a regular basis and the fact that I live in an apartment. But at the end of the day, I think that what only will matter will be what you believe and feel as though it is, and if you have achieved it or not. And that goes for wealth, and that goes for a living wage, because it's all going to be dependent upon you. If someone chose to live in a very, very inexpensive town, probably a rural town, and chose to live in a mobile home or a modular home or some affordable housing solution, and had no children, perhaps maybe were even single, and had no expensive habits, then they could potentially earn $35,000, $40,000, $45,000, under $50,000 a year, and have achieved this living wage and have no problems, no qualms whatsoever with earning that kind of money and living a comfortable life. However, if someone chose to have a significant other and potentially maybe even have a divorce, child support, alimony payments, expensive habits, live in, let's just say, Manhattan in New York, and wanted to drive a really nice car, let's just say a Lexus or a BMW or Mercedes or, Cadillac. Odds are $50,000 won't cut it. Odds are they would probably need to be earning somewhere in the neighborhood of $300,000 to $400,000 a year in order for them to even be close to a living wage. This is all assuming the significant other, the spouse, has income as well. These are life's choices. These are the differences in living in a high rise in Manhattan in New York and being, very wasteful versus living in a super rural town in like Kansas or something, Oklahoma, super below your means in a trailer or a modular home. It's all different. It varies case by case, person by person, locale by locale. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the person in the rural town thinks of the person in Manhattan, nor does it matter what the person in Manhattan thinks of the person in the rural town, because their opinion has no bearing and no effect on their income, their living wage, and or their wealth. Long story short. But ironically, we are at a crossroads, folks, where we are going to see some people's wealth being tested, maybe. And in my opinion, I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care about any of that. The only thing that I do care about is that you can take the information that I share with you on these videos and hopefully use it in a positive way to help improve your life and your financial situation. End of story. Perhaps maybe what you do could potentially mean something for me, and we may develop a relationship which would then further allow us both to reap the benefits and the fruits of our labor and increased success and increased wealth. But it just doesn't matter to me. I do what I do because I love what I do, and hopefully it helps somebody, which I know it has because people have actually contacted me and told me. But at the end of the day, it doesn't, because like I said, whoever lives in the high rise in Manhattan in New York and their thoughts of the person who lives in the rural town in Kansas or Oklahoma, I'm not pointing up at the high rise and down at the I'm literally pointing up because I'm pointing up towards the northeast of where New York is and down to where I think Kansas and Oklahoma is. But I'm not trying to point at the classes or social classes, which is where we're headed, folks. This ESG, this social credit scores, are going to be a game changer, which will have a new impact on your perceived wealth, because it's not a tangible item. You can't hold wealth. You can't say there it is. There's wealth. Can't do it. And you may look at some folks and think that they are wealthy, not realizing that they are not. They are in debt up to their eyeballs and would literally probably wish today was their last day if it could be. I digress. But we are in a shift. We're in a crossroads of a major change, and it comes down to something as simple as the CBDC, the central bank digital currency, Executive Order 14067. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here, okay? And I want to explain to you very briefly, very quickly, and hopefully in a way that everyone can understand what we are about to face, what we're up against. And it's something that's as trivial as, I'll tell you what, let me use this as a visual so you guys can see what I'm talking about. It's something as trivial as this. Let's see if I can get that to focus. Can y'all see that? Hopefully my credit card number's not on there. Y'all gonna go for a shopping spree or something. Diversity, security, and cash flow, folks. That's why I use credit cards, because if someone were to go out and use my credit card without my approval, without my consent, unauthorized, I just make a phone call. I just log on the computer and just, fraudulent transaction. I'm good. I ain't got to worry about it. They didn't access my cash. They didn't access my funds. I don't lose any sleep over it. But something as trivial as a credit card with a MasterCard logo on it, where there are times where some credit cards aren't accepted. So, for instance, American Express is a great credit card for a lot of reasons, variety of reasons. However, it's not accepted everywhere because American Express typically has higher merchant transaction fees, as well as their fraud support and chargeback support, where a lot of vendors are afraid of an American Express chargeback. They know that they're pretty much out of the money at that point in time. MasterCard, Visa, American Express, Discover, not all are accepted everywhere. And that's where we're headed with CBDC. That's where Executive Order 14067 is going to take us very soon, in my opinion. Now, granted, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, nor do I know when it will happen. But based on what could happen, based on CBDC, central bank digital currency, based on the technology, based on the central banks and the Fed and the current administration wanting to have complete control and access, trackability, taxability, they can turn on or off the CBDC theoretically whenever they wanted to. They could even set limits. And I'm not talking about purchase limits like a credit card would. I'm talking about time limits where your money, theoretically money, loose term here, could have an expiration date attached to it. And yeah, that's a thing, which means that, you better spend it or you're going to lose it. Talk about stimulating the economy. They'll no longer need to adjust interest rates to try to tame inflation. No, they would force spending or retract the money out of the economy with an expiration date. But much like a credit card that has a logo like a Visa or a MasterCard or a Discover or American Express, they could use the CBDC in a similar way and say you cannot use it at this establishment. You can't buy goods and services with these vendors. You can't spend money in these neighborhoods. You can't use the CBDC after these hours. So, for instance, if they wanted to make these 15-minute cities and then initiate curfews, they could do it by shutting off the money. Think about it. Think about it. This is similarly as trivial as a credit card with the logo of a Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, and they're not accepted everywhere. But now they're not, it's not the choice of the business owner, the entrepreneur, the CEO, the president, the CFO, the accountants, those in charge. No, it is the Fed. It is the central bank. It is bureaucrats who will then have complete control over you and your money. It's crazy. Crazy to think. So the reason why I say this is because this is why I'm so concerned about diversity, security, and cash flow. Because in my opinion, wealth has more to do with all three of those than it does with a single digit in a bank account. And if you abide by these principles, then when the time comes, when Executive Order 14067 kicks off, when CBDC rolls out, when the dollar is done, there's de-dollarization. We are on to a new digital dollar. You're going to have to use central bank digital currency or they're going to wipe you out altogether. I would much rather have my wealth in diversified cash flow producing assets that are much more secure than dollars in a bank account or ones and zeros on a ledger that will mean nothing at that point in time. But that's just me. And I'm only sharing that with you guys because I like you. And I would feel as though that at nearly 17 minutes into this video, you are here because you want to hear what I have to say and you want to have access to knowledge, education, information to help you prepare, and more importantly, the truth. Not to judge me on a metric that, regardless of whether what you think or whether or not what may or may not be true, has no bearing on your wealth and your ability to earn more money, your ability to earn a living wage, your ability to prepare yourself and set yourself up for success and sustainability post the evolution of the dollar, post Executive Order 14067, post CBDC, post central bank digital currency. You guys are smart. You guys are educated. You guys know better. Now you just have to decide, what do you want to do and how do you want to do it? What is wealth to you? What is diversity to you? What is security to you? What is cash flow to you? Now, granted, I do have these conversations on a regular basis with the folks over on Patreon. You're more than welcome to come over and join us. Take charge, folks. That's all I can say, because things are moving quickly, rapidly, evolving. And unfortunately, for those who are missing the message and perhaps maybe too focused on things that really don't matter, don't be the guy in the trailer in the rural town in Kansas worrying about the guy in the penthouse high rise in Manhattan. Be the guy who's wherever you are, whoever you are, or girl, guy or girl, gal. We're not going to get into the pronoun war game here, okay, folks? We got guys, we got girls, okay? Be the person that you want to be. Focus on you, focus on your family, focus on your business, focus on your goals, your plans, your strategies. A goal is nothing more than a wish or a dream. Hope is not a strategy. Hope is not a plan. We need to have plans. We need to execute. We need to have strategies. We need to be moving towards reaching these goals, these milestones of achieving whatever your living wage may be, whatever your wealth, whatever your definition of wealth may be. We need to make that happen, and it can happen in a variety of different ways. But it won't happen if you're worried about the wrong things. And what will happen is the changes coming to the economy, the changes coming to the dollar, the changes coming by way of Executive Order 14067, the changes coming by way of the Fed, central banks, CBDCs, central bank digital currency. And if you snooze, unfortunately, this time you're going to lose big, folks. My opinion, my projections, my predictions moving forward. Like I said, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know anything. I don't know everything, but I do know this. I'm going to keep working. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm going to keep building. I'm going to keep striving towards the plans that I have set out for myself. If any of you guys are interested in doing the same, then by all means, feel free, reach out, contact me. You guys take care, be safe. I'll see you real soon. Bye.